Yo, I know it's been a while since I posted on this account. I know like the world's like collapsing and everything's like going haywire, and we're kind of moving towards a dystopia right now. But I just wanted this to be a really chill look into my new setup that I have. This is my new Linux setup. I'm on Debian now. I am no longer using Windows. What happened? Well, my gaming laptop essentially fried itself, and now I'm using this cheap $45 desktop that I got from eBay a year ago in an attempt to make it into a home server, which failed miserably.
Yeah, so I just came upstairs after my first day trying to set up my whole little home server with Nextcloud and all that. It's about 8:36, and I've been down there just setting up the desktop and Docker and all the other components since about like 3 o'clock. I've never felt so tired this early in the night.
And this thing sucks. It's terrible. It's very bad. We'll get into the specs of that later. What I want this video to be for is it's just a little mini video I'm releasing alongside my larger video over Linux, and that should be out sometime within the next month. Two things I want to emphasize before I get into this video is that one, you don't need a lot of money to get a setup. Like this monitor and costs a lot. This mouse, this keyboard didn't. I got it for Prime Day, whatever. But you don't need a monitor like this. And my desktop, which is the most important part, like I said, was very cheap. So you don't need a lot of money. It just depends on the knowledge that you have. And second of all, for the, I can't speak today. Okay, so the best OS for any sort of older computer is going to be Linux. By far, it's not even a question. And moving to Linux is made to be super difficult. It really isn't. It is overcomplicated, I feel a lot of the time, and you just need to pick what works for you. That's what I'm going to get into in my video that's going to be released, whenever. This is just a smaller video to go with that. Go watch my larger video. Subscribe to the channel, please. We need it, okay? Okay, so please forgive me for the fact that like my desk is it's kind of dirty right now. I believe it was Einstein who said if you have a clean desk shows what your mind looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a lot of things going on in your mind. You're thinking about many things at once. You have a dirty desk. So yeah, so anyway. In terms of what we need to focus on here, of course, you guys have seen my monitor in my previous videos, my keyboard, which is just some like cheap Red Dragon keyboard that I bought for Prime Day one time. And you guys see the Drain Gang wallpaper, because I absolutely love Drain Gang. Crest is an amazing album, by the way. But of course, we mainly focus on what we have going on down here. This is my desktop. And right here, I have connected to a JBL speaker, which has to always be on. Now, the issue with this is that JBL speakers have this weird issue where they tend to just turn off if there's no like audio output. So I either have to have like the system volume on my Linux system up loud enough, which as you can see, it's all the way up, or I have to play a low humming frequency in the back, something in the range of like maybe 50 hertz or something like that, just from some random tone generator website, which I prefer not to do if I don't have to. Plus, I'm not really sure if that's the best for your ears. I know that you don't want to have it super high. It's like the 20,000 hertz where you can't hear it, but having it low down like that, I'm assuming is, I hope that's a little bit better. I would not suggest doing it. I have to do my own research, and that's why I'm not doing it so much, because I don't know if it's good for my ears. I'm gonna just show you guys NeoFetch real quick. Let me just change directory real quick. I don't need to do that, but I felt like doing it anyway. And there we go. Yep, there are my specs right there. We're running Debian Bookworm. As you can see, it's a Dell Inspiron. You can see the absolutely just pretty horrid specs we have going on here, especially the GPU. But we have 16 gigs of RAM, and you would not believe this, but this computer actually has 2 terabytes worth of storage. So, I mean, I feel like that goes kind of to show just like how you can get ridiculous deals secondhand. And I made a video on this sort of stuff, my e-reader video, so I've kind of gotten into it, but for computers in particular, I have multiple ThinkPads. I have a lot of different computers. And for none of these computers have I ever paid more than $100. All of them have 16 gigs of RAM. All of them work really well, for web browsing or anything like that. And most of all, the ThinkPads, so they're durable. I don't have to worry about them breaking. Like my gaming laptop that broke, I've never even had any of my ThinkPads even get close to breaking. Well, nothing internal. Like nothing like that can't be replaced. And you don't really need, you know, a lot of money to get a good system. I have a perfectly fine system. You know, if it wasn't for me having to video edit and do all sorts of, you know, crazy and ridiculous things, you know. I mean, I can go without gaming on my computer, but, you know, if I didn't have to do all this like strong stuff, I'd be totally fine with it, you know. You can even get a cheaper GPU and still run some sort of games, you know. You can get a 1660 Ti for maybe 150 or something like that, which is what I'm considering doing myself. I'm just not sure if the CPU is going to bottleneck it too much. And you can throw that into your system and be totally fine. You don't need a lot of money. You just need to have the right intention, and you need to know where to look for a computer. And in terms of moving to Linux, Linux can also be made just as easy as that process. And, you know, that's why I genuinely want to go into making this video. So, yeah. Buy cheap stuff and learn. Therefore, you can avoid having to pay a lot of money just because you didn't want to take the time to actually, like, you know, gain the knowledge. You gain the knowledge, things become cheaper. You don't get the knowledge, things are more expensive because you have to make up for that lack of knowledge that you have in that gap. Yeah, and one final thing I want to mention is that, you know, this setup is, I feel like it's a lot more difficult to buy secondhand stuff when you're living in a place where there's just not much of it sold. Like, for example, I live on an island. And it's pretty hard to get computers here for any sort of purpose. Like, anything equivalent to the gaming laptop that I have, which I got for like $900 back inside the States, is gonna cost $2,000 here. So, and even if you want to import something off of eBay, you still have to pay, like, you know, duty fees or something like that. So it's tough. But generally, if you can find it, you know, you just make do with what you have. You gotta cheap out. Like, that's why I'm using a JBL speaker. This is really the only speaker that I can get right now. But my point in showing this is that if you can get everything to come together, you know, like, if you learn how to make everything work rather than just, like, you know, like expecting it all to work. Like, if you're willing to take the time to go out of your way to, like, really in depth, like, learn how to work every single thing, what works, what doesn't, you can build a setup out of pretty much anything with any money, I think. That goes for a lot of things, but we're talking about computers specifically here. Learn what you need to know, and then you can build a setup with anything. My whole setup right here, the JBL speaker I've had for a long time. I think I got this for, like, I don't know, maybe like $200 back when it first came out. I've had it for years now, but you can probably get it cheaper now. I feel like this whole setup might not really cost a whole lot of money. You don't need an expensive monitor like this. You know, you don't need all this. This whole setup could probably be had for like under $100, under $150. So just take the time, learn what you need, learn what you don't need, learn how to work everything, use your knowledge, and, you know, you'll be able to find, like, something that works. Because I feel like I just really want technology and, like, that sort of thing to be fully accessible. You know what I'm saying? Not really sure this made sense. I don't have any sort of, like, script for this. This is meant to be a part of my larger video. I probably will still add it in, but yeah. Thanks.